Hello there, you're welcome to the Power Circuit, proudly brought to you by the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN. You're with Amara Agugesi, and here are the headlines for today's edition. Increased investments in power to aid GDP growth, says Minister of Power at a maiden ministerial retreat. Still at the retreat, TCN advocates for a viable business-driven electricity market for transmission services. Interagency team inspects service-level agreements, power project consignments in Abuja. Let's keep up with the informative reports coming through. For Nigeria to increase its gross domestic product to $1 trillion as projected by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, it must increase investments in electricity supply across the country. The Minister of Power, Chief Adebayo Adelabu, stated this at the retreat on the Integrated National Electricity Policy and Strategic Implementation in Abuja.
The minister, who lauded the participants at the retreat with the theme Navigating and Aligning on the Path to Enhanced Electricity Reliability, noted that it was crucial to drive action plans to improve electricity in line with the new Electricity Act 2023.
On behalf of the President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, DCFR, and all my colleagues in the Federal Executive Council, I wish to express my gratitude for your participation in this retreat, which is a step towards the establishment of the Integrated National Electricity Policy and Strategic Implementation Plan as required by the Electricity Act of 2023. The electricity sector and the Federal Ministry of Power, which I am privileged to lead at this crucial moment, have a unique perspective of the nation's entire economy. The ministry is responsible for setting the strategic implementation plan and policy framework for the provision of electricity in the country. The discharge of this vital statutory mandate is guided by the provisions of the Electricity Act of 2023. Without a doubt, our existing policy framework, the National Electric Power Policy of 2001, stands as an outdated guide for the sector. This is precisely why Section 3, Subsection 1 of the Electricity Act 2023 mandates the Ministry to initiate, within 1 year of the Act, the preparation and publication of an integrated national electricity policy and strategic implementation plan, INEP-SIP.
Adelabu said there are more stages towards delivering on a robust strategic implementation plan for the power sector.
Complying with this crucial directive, this retreat marks the inaugural phase of a three-stage stakeholder engagement aimed at formulating the INEP, ultimately intended for presentation and approval by the Federal Executive Council. The SIP, i.e. the Strategic Implementation Plan, is hinged on the completion of the Integrated Resource Plan, IRP, in September 2024.
Among the key areas of focus for the implementation strategies include the electricity market design, the minister said.
I would like to provide some thoughts on the key areas of focus and the themes to help drive engagement and ensure focused discourse with outcomes that have the highest probability of delivering positive impact for our country. Some of these themes are: number one, electricity market design. The national wholesale electricity markets, the state electricity markets, and their various stakeholders involving franchisee arrangements, infrastructure requirements, and technical support. The Electricity Act 2023 now allows, in line with the 1999 Constitution as amended, that states may establish the legal, regulatory and commercial frameworks for their domestic electricity markets.
The Minister of Power then tasked participants with high expectations from the retreat.
I want to charge all of us to get actively involved in the discussions and activities of this retreat, though it goes a long way in determining the impact we are going to have on the electricity supply industry within the next 3 years of the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. As for me, I have decided to make an impact, no matter how little, within the very short time. We have our short-term strategies, we have our medium-term strategies, and the long-term strategies. All these we must adhere to in terms of what are the principles of these strategies and the consistency of implementation of these strategies.
Wale Edun, Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of Economy, stressed the government's commitment to improving the power sector as he congratulated the Minister of Power for leading the course.
We all know the importance of power, and apart from the fact that it is one of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's 8 priority areas, because it fits clearly under his priority of growing the economy, rapid, sustained, inclusive growth. Power is clearly at the heart of that attempt. You cannot have industrialization, you cannot have growth of manufacturing without electricity. But apart from the economic imperative, there's also the social imperative. 40% of the population do not have access to electricity. And clearly, to Mr. President and all well-meaning stakeholders, that is unacceptable. And that's why what is being done here today is critical.
Also speaking, the Minister of Budget and National Planning, Senator Atiku Bagudu, said the government is keen on delivering investments in power in the long-term national plan.
It's just to once more appreciate that this is a very important retreat, and to congratulate the Minister of Power and his team, and to draw attention to the fact that our long-term plan, Agenda 2050, was done, which was chaired by the private sector. A major plank of the Agenda 2050 is our ability to deliver our investments in power. And only 14% of the $100 billion per annum investment is expected to even come from the public sector. So that means we have hard thinking to do, heavy lifting to do in order to meet with the power goals.
The Permanent Secretary in the Federal Ministry of Power, Mr. Temitope Fashedemi, said the retreat was the first of its kind in the journey towards attaining reliable electricity supply in Nigeria.
This retreat is the first in the series of engagements with stakeholders in the electricity sector in our journey towards attainment of reliable electricity supply in Nigeria. Distinguished participants, we acknowledge the gains of the various initiatives implemented in the past. There is no saying that the sector will require further repositioning in order for us to ensure that the substantial contribution that is expected towards our national economic growth and development is achieved. Hosting this retreat at this time in the life of the present administration, therefore, provides a great opportunity to receive from all the stakeholders critical inputs that will form the basis for charting the path towards achieving presidential mandate of reliable electricity and affordable one to all Nigerians. While the first 2 days of this event is for all external stakeholders to chip in their bit to contribute towards building this plan, the third day will then be for the ministry and all its agencies to sit back and assimilate all that we'll have gathered in the first 2 days, and then prepare our way forward to achieving the mandate and the KPIs given to the Honorable Minister.
The power circuit continues in a moment.
The Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, transmits bulk electricity from power generating companies, GenCos, distribution load centers of distribution companies, DISCOs, nationwide. At TCN, we transport bulk electricity at very high voltage to DISCOs, who now off-take it and distributes it directly to electricity customers nationwide. TCN does not generate electricity. We transport the quantum of power generated to distribution load centers. TCN does not distribute electricity directly to electricity consumers. Our job stops where that of the DISCOs begin. TCN consists of 2 distinct business units: the Transmission Service Provider, TSP, and Independent System Operation, ISO. ISO comprises System Operation, SO, and Market Operation, MO. Each business unit performs specialized functions under the TCN umbrella. TCN, transmitting bulk electricity in the most efficient and effective manner.
The management of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, has advocated for a viable business-driven electricity market for transmission services. The Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of the company, Engineer Dr. Sule Ahmed Abdulaziz, stated this during a breakout session on Transmission Group at the Ministerial Retreat on the Integrated National Electricity Policy and Strategic Implementation in Abuja.
Harping on business viability in the ongoing conceptualization of integrated national electricity policy and strategic implementation, the TCN helmsman said improving the business process in the Nigerian electricity market would make it viable, especially for the power transmission business.
I want the people who are working with the Honorable Minister to know this and advise the Minister. We need a cost-reflective tariff.
The General Manager, System Planning at TCN, Engineer Kabiru Adamu, spoke on the core issues of planning for alignment of power transmission projects based on electricity demand forecast.
The planning process clearly defines the approach, which is actually demand-driven, meaning that the starting point of your planning should be your demand forecast, and that demand forecast indicates where electricity is clearly demanded, and then the transmission system provider will now be able to look at those locations, what is the existing transmission infrastructure available in those areas where the demand has been cited, and if there is need for improvement, then improvements are planned towards achieving it, and you now see that the infrastructure being planned are tailored towards driving the demand that is being forecasted.
The market operator, Engineer Edmond Eje, also spoke about the state of the Nigerian electricity market and what action plans are required to improve the market strength in line with the service level agreement.
Given the trend we have today, working with SLA, service level agreement, which mandates the distribution company to take a threshold of energy designated for them, and generator to generate an amount of energy required of them, and then transmission to make it available where they want it. Given the amount of intervention the government has also made through transmission services that is not receiving cost-reflective tariff. I tell you sincerely, power is still a social good.
The participants all noted their points with the objective of having them curated and submitted to the Minister of Power as part of the thought process going into the final version of the Integrated National Electricity Policy and Strategic Implementation Document.
The Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, working with other government institutions, says it is committed to completing key power projects under the Service Level Agreement. This resolve was re-echoed by the TCN Project Monitoring Office, PMO, during a tour to inspect equipment consignment delivery in Abuja and Lagos by the interagency team.
The inspection tour, which was first held in Abuja, was led by the TCN Program Manager, Transmission Distribution, SLA Projects, Engineer Matthew Ajibade, with participating stakeholders from CBN, NESI SSL, NERC, AEDC and TCN. At the 330-132-33 kV Gogolada substation in Abuja, Engineer Ajibade said the Service Level Agreement project began 2 years ago with the procurement process.
The Transmission Distribution Interface Project is an intervention facility that was received from this Central Bank of Nigeria, and this facility is to address the interface, transmission distribution interface issues on the of NESI. Quite a number of projects were identified by the stakeholder at the commencement of the scheme, and the procurement were also done for about 53 lots. So we have 53 lots for this project at the beginning. So the project commenced. Despite the challenges that we face, we want to appeal to announce to us that some of the contractors are already delivering on the project.
He noted that the projects covered all the distribution companies, ensuring that the interface issues between the transmission and distribution are resolved.
The project covered all the distribution companies nationwide. And today we are here at Gwagwalada. This place is one of the receiving location to receive our spare equipment under AEDC and the other distribution companies in the northern part of the countries. So this morning we are here with our host distribution company, which is AEDC. Under the AEDC we have 3 lots. The first one has to do with the reinforcement or the upgrading of Karu substation from 60 MVA to another 100 MVA, and also construction of 33 kV 3 numbers to enhance the evacuation of power to the consumers.
Assistant Director, Infrastructure Finance Department of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Abdulrazak Tijani, said the projects were crucial in improving power supply across the DISCO's franchise areas.
It may also interest you to know the sensitivity and importance of this project, because I'm sure most of you are aware the National Assembly is on this issue as at hand, and I'm very, very impressed, and I'm happy to be part of this because it's going to give me a first-hand information, and my team and the bank as large, to tell the world that money was not wasted. Money is meant to improve the life of every Nigerian across board, which at the end of the day is going to tell a positive story, as we are going to see.
Highlight of recent achievements: we have expanded the grid by adding new substations, we have reconductored all transmission lines, we have rehabilitated substations, we have enhanced safety in substation and control rooms, we have improved collaboration, enhanced of staff capacity through training, improved safety in operation, change in market design, and ensure more accountability among grid users. We have implementation of IoT as a stopgap method for grid visibility before we can finish the SCADA project. We have also created risk management department and research and innovation department. TCA management has put in place a strategic and well-articulated and systematic program tagged the Nigerian electricity grid maintenance expansion and rehabilitation program with short and term objectives. The diligent implementation of this program has fast-tracked the achievement of milestone in grid efficiency, maintenance, rehabilitation, equipment procurement, and expansion. TCN has successfully implemented several transmission infrastructure projects, resulting in increased capacity and improved reliability of the national grid. I want to assure the Honorable Minister that we are going to deliver more than this 6,000. We are going to deliver far more than this.
Here are the headlines again as we come to a close. The Minister of Power, Chief Adebayo Adelabu, at a national power policy retreat says increased investments in power will aid growth of Nigeria's gross domestic product. While actively taking part in the retreat, the management of TCN advocates for a viable business-driven electricity market for transmission services. An interagency team has inspected service-level agreement power projects and consignments. Keep your support coming in the fight against vandalism and encroachment of the right-of-way of power transmission installations. You can enrich yourself with more information by subscribing to the TCN YouTube channel, TCN_Nigeria. On Facebook, kindly like the page Transmission Company of Nigeria. On X, formerly Twitter, follow TCN via at TCN_Nigeria. TCN is also on Instagram, TCN_Nigeria. You can also send email messages to TCN via affairs.public@tcn.org.ng and it will get the required attention. Why don't you learn about the company's activities on the interactive website www.tcn.org.ng? For more information about what TCN does, this website is dedicated just to you. Log on to www.tcnnews.ng. The Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, believes that with partnerships and your support, it will continue to deliver world-class services in terms of transmitting bulk electricity nationwide in the most efficient way. I am Amara Agogesi. See you next week.